Dum 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 dum. Another live, another live, another live. With my mustache. Only the people in the replay are going to see that. Because nobody's joined yet. Well, hello. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Going to give a couple of seconds here. How you doing, Mons? Handlebar Cuber over there. Going to wait and see who all kind of joins. And then we'll kind of get started. Mustache is clean and dry. Hello, Edwardian, the collector. Hello to you. Hello to Krish Saroy. I hope I said that right. English is supposed to be my primary language, and I still stumble on it. Hello, Bombario. Hello, the Foolish Duke. Hello, everyone. So today we'll be doing some Kenya handlebar primary and secondary shaping. I'm going to give it just maybe another 30 seconds, see who kind of joins in. Certainly did. All right, well, I try. Stash Mechanic, how are you? Amazing beard and mustache, I must add. If you get a chance, definitely go over and give him a follow. He has got quite the beard and mustache combo going on. So basically today what I'm going to be using, let me see if I can do this, is the primary. And I will be using the secondary. Hello, Bald Head. Amazing beard and his mustache combo. It's very on point, very on point. Thank you for joining me here live. So, we got about 6 people. It's been about a minute already, so I'm going to go ahead and start. For those watching the replay, thank you for taking the time to stop by and watch this. For those of you who are joining us live, thank you very much. I am Bob, and of course this is Elliot Norris, my mustache. So today I will be doing a Can You Handlebar primary and secondary live shaping. So one of the things I want to talk about real quick is I always talk about with like mustaches is make sure it's dry. Okay, do not put any oil in. Okay, oil is good for the non-wax days. It's very good to keep the skin and the hairs moisturized to make them healthy. This is the animated from Can You Handlebar. Amazing coffee aroma. I use their beard shampoo. Great for being less harsh on your facial hair, to include your mustache. So, as some of you know, 2018, I decided to start growing a beard for a year. And in the 13 years prior, every time I grew a beard, I just used anti-dandruff shampoo. The skin always dried out. The hair always felt brittle. And I always shaved it off. And when I did this in December 2018, it was about the same thing. And then I come across Can You Handlebar, started using their beard shampoo. And yes, I use their beard and face lotion. And I still put that in. I rub it in at the base. That's the same I do with my beard oil. Beard oil, put a little bit on your fingers, rub your hands together. And what I do is I go in, rub it, and then I go outward like that. And that's how I coat it. Another thing is I've got the Can You Handlebar dry oil beard balm brush. This is their beard balm. So basically what it is it's a leave-in conditioner. You put it in and it helps keep the hair healthy, works throughout the day, just like a leave-in conditioner. So it makes it very healthy, very shiny, and that's what you want really is a healthy set of facial hair. All right, so back to the mustache stuff. Hello, KitKat2812, thank you for joining. Is clean hands, clean dry mustache, right? And if you're putting oils in, wax is oil soluble. So by having oils in your mustache or on your hands, it's going to start to break that wax down and it may not stick together very well. So the primary, which you can kind of see, I've used quite a lot of this. At room temperature, this is a pretty good consistency, but I like to warm it with a hairdryer. Change it up a little bit so it's a little more pliable. There's some advantages to heating up your wax because when you drastically change, I guess, the consistency and then put it in as it starts to return to that room temperature consistency, you can get it a little bit harder. And then I will go over it with the secondary. And any of you that have seen my previous post, when I use the primary, I use it to shape my handlebar, get the general shape, and then I leave it alone for a couple of minutes, and then I'll come back to it, maybe run it out again, run a comb through, and then put the secondary on. So if everybody is ready, I am ready to go. So make sure you have something to clean your hands off. This is good for the primary because it's a medium strength. And then, of course, I use a shop rag for the stronger waxes because what I found is if you have a stronger wax and you're trying to do it on a... no, those are my daughter's budgies and her parakeets. Or her budgies and her cockatiels. Stronger wax and you're using a paper towel, you can pick some of that fuzz up. Last note, like my man cave here is the downstairs bathroom, which I share with the 6-year-old, and sometimes she uses glitter makeup. And I've picked up glitter makeup on the bottom of the can, not realizing it, getting it on my hands, and then running glitter through my mustache when I didn't really intend to. All right, so I'm going to turn this on, so it'll get a little bit loud. So this is the wax, right? You can see it's not shiny. I'm going to run the hairdryer over it on low heat until I get it about shiny. It's usually about 12 to 18 seconds. Ooh, it's hot on the hand, hot on the hand. Oh. And it's a little bit on the shiny side. You don't want liquidy. Liquidy really changes the properties of the wax and the consistency of it. It can start to clump. Now they recommend, all waxes generally will recommend that you scrape out about a pea size. I get a little bit more because I know my mustache is going to take a little bit more. So what I like to do, and today I'm going to make a very wide flat imperial, is I put a little bit of tension and start putting the wax through. Now, one of the things that I do is with this hand that has the wax on it, from the top and the bottom, as I'm applying the wax, I'm trying to align the hairs. I'm also trying to feel for any what I call knots. So I'm trying to get the hair like this, and every now and then you'll get a hair that bunches underneath, and I'll feel it on the backside and it's a knot. And if I don't take care of it soon, as I'm running the mustache out later, it'll pop out. And then as I go to pull it to fix it, the hairs will split. So I hope everybody is having a wonderful Friday. Red Friday, R-E-D. Remember, everyone deployed. If you can, to honor all of those that can't be home right now, you wear some red until they're all home, right? So it's a good thing to do on Fridays. Good thing to do on Fridays. I started putting wax in. I always forget to talk about the number one question I'm asked, and that's how I eat. So I can take my hand and lift it, or what typically I'll do is part it and lift it that way, and then I can eat normal. Or if I have wax in, I can eat pretty normal as well. Another question I get asked, a little more wax, rub between your fingers, is how do I combat the mustache curls angling forward? And what I try to do is two things. One, after it's wet and I put the beard and face lotion in, I brush it back, because the way that it dries will also determine how much energy you have to put into getting it into a shape. So if it's all over the place and you're putting wax in, it's going to try to go all over the place. The second thing I do is, as I'm putting wax in, I will try to bend it back towards my ear. And then what I have found is, as I'm doing it later and it wants to lean forward, it's not going to lean as much. Because if I'm more worried about trying to get it like this right now, it's just going to keep going a little bit later on. Can you handlebars here? Everybody, you got to give thumbs up. The boss is in. The boss is in, right? Welcome, Can You Handlebar? So some people will do both sides at one time, take out a little bit of wax, put it on both sides, do like this, and they'll go across like that. I like to kind of do one side at a time. And the reason I do that is my mustache is kind of long. So as I'm doing it, one side of my mustache likes to go down into a beautiful curve. The other side kind of goes either straight down or straight out. So I'm trying to see if I can't get them in a basic symmetrical shape. Hello, hi Tim from Can You Handlebar. So Tim, while you're on here, why don't you throw out the latest code, I think, if there is one running, because I'm always trying to post that in the comments of my stuff, and I want to make sure I have the most current one. It's January. It's a new year. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a pretty good Christmas. Santa Claus brought me a new safety razor set and some soaps. Really enjoying it. I like that nostalgic feel that I get when I'm shaving with it. And I got one of the brushes. Oh man, that's really nice. And the shaving soap has a great aroma to it. So as I mentioned, with the primary, I like to make my basic shape. How are you, Handlebar? Oh, can you? Yeah, how are you? I like to make the basic shape with the primary, let it return kind of back to that room temperature consistency, and then I go through and make my changes. I love the 2 different waxes from Can You Handlebar. They serve 2 different purposes for me. You know, the shaping, and then I'll put the secondary in for an all-day hold. And I mean, you can go back through some of my photos in my Instagram timeline. I've had great Can You Handlebar mustaches where I didn't shower like the next day and just got busy or whatever, and it held a beautiful form until like the end of the day, and I was like, okay, you know, I got to go get a shower. Look at that, everybody. So that is the code to save you some moolah. As Tim was mentioning, they're out of a lot of stuff. I mean, it's in high demand. So hopefully over the next few weeks, they will get that stuff going. The company is kind of based out of Michigan, where I'm originally from. So I feel a nice special connection with them there. And, you know, a lot of times I'll ramble on too. And, you know, the mustache is looking a little messy. Hopefully, excuse me, hopefully I will hit on something maybe that you're like, no, I never thought about that. If you're growing a mustache, your mustache is beautiful. You know, you grow your mustache, I'll grow my mustache. I don't believe in like facial hair shaming. Although I not shaming, is everybody seeing this new fad going around, the monkey tail, where you take your beard and it goes? I can't get on board with loving it. I know it's something different, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this monkey tail thing, right? So yeah, I've been mustache shamed. You know, early on when I was growing my beard and just trying different things, you know, trying different mustache shapes and styles and seeing what worked and what didn't work. Part of that learning curve. You know, I'd have people say to me just, you know, silly things like, man, why'd you do it like that? That looks so stupid on your face. And I just shrugged it off. Not a big deal. Bend it back towards the ears a little bit. So that way, a little bit later, it will not bend forward so much, hopefully. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The big thing I have found with like shaping handlebars and all of that is it's trial and error. It's practice, patience, and repetition. The first year that I grew the beard and the mustache, which I just passed, I think it was month 24, I waxed every day. I not only did it kind of out of ease so that I could pull the hairs up and be able to eat just fine, but it was getting that routine down. And, you know, it may sound funny, but even when I would run into an issue and I'd get a little frustrated and maybe I'd put too much wax in and I'd comb it again or I'd do something silly, it was a learning event, right? One of the other things I would say is that, you know, like me, just yesterday I was doing some shaping and some of the hair on this side seemed to be a little bit longer, right? And of course, the natural instinct is to grab a pair of scissors and maybe just trim it off so it looks beautiful. I would say wait. Give it a little bit of time, because it's so much easier to make a minor change later than it is to trim off this side today and find out that it was just that the hairs fell a different way and some of them were sticking out. And you trim that off today and you go and you shape through and you notice this side's a little bit shorter and you look at this side and you're like, well, I guess this side I got to cut. And then next thing you know, your mustache is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then you're like, well, I'm going to have to start over. So I always recommend like a 3-week period before you make a major change. Now, if after a couple of days you have, the same hair seem to be sticking up, you just take a little bit. Like you can see if I get in close, I got a couple of hairs out there sticking out, but I'm not going to touch them today. So as I was showing earlier, I love the dry oil beard balm. I use that in my mustache still. This animated is coffee aroma. If you love coffee, this is to die for. It also comes in a beard oil, which using beard oil on your mustache still is a good thing to do, but don't do it on the days you wax. Wax is oil soluble. So if you put a bunch of oil in and then you put wax in, I did it a lot in the beginning and the wax wouldn't stick and I get frustrated and it would take me 45 minutes to do my mustache because I'm like just fed up with it at the point. I'm like, oh, whatever. There's some people that use hairspray. So once you get your mustache set, you spray some hairspray on your fingers and you kind of rub it in. And some people have success with it. I tried it a couple of times. And what I don't like about it personally myself, one is I didn't see that my mustache was like this one day, right? It was like this. So I put the hairspray in and I went to work and I was at work for about an hour and I went into the bathroom and I was washing my hands and I look and I'm like, oh my God, my mustache is lopsided. I've either got to walk like this all day or, I'd pull it down. But because the hairspray was in, it would snap right back up. So eventually I think I just grabbed a comb and went through it and broke it up. So what I like about wax is throughout the day, I can make minor adjustments. Another thing I will put out there for those of you just growing mustaches, one, let it grow. You don't know what you need now that you'll need later on. So if you're trimming a lot of the hairs through here and up in here, and you want a big handlebar, you may be trimming something that you need, later on. But I will say, as you're making your mustache, right? And I did this in the beginning. I used to pull a lot of the hair right in here because it made this part of the mustache thicker, right? And I'd get the wax in, everything would look good. And I'd have to sit like this. Like an hour or two later, is there anything special you do to sleep with your mustache or does it matter? So I don't think it's recommended you leave wax in for long periods of time. I don't think it's very good for the hairs. When I sleep, I fold a pillow up kind of under my ear. I should take the wax out each night, but sometimes I get a little lazy. What I would recommend is if you're done with your wax, take a little bit of the beard oil, drip it in, start running it through, and it'll help to start to break down the wax so it's not so stiff. And then take you a little bit of beard shampoo or something that's less harsh on your facial hair and kind of wash it out and then put a little beard oil back in to help keep it healthy and moisturized. Because what you don't want is you don't want the hair drying out. You don't want the skin drying out. If the hair dries out, it can lend itself to split ends or dead ends. Once it gets that split end at the very end, it'll start to split all the way down to the base and it'll stunt the growth. So you want to make it as healthy as you can. Drink lots of water. One thing I will recommend is go to canyouhandlebar.com. They have a beard mentor section. In there, people have asked tons and tons of questions like, is there anything I can eat that'll make it better? How do I comb it? When do I start using beard oil? When should I trim it? What should I trim it with? Do not, if you can help it, don't trim your facial hair with a pair of hair clippers. And the reason being is yours will never be as sharp as, say, the barber's. And if you go to the barber to get a trim, ask that they use scissors because you run the risk because with those blades are going back and forth. And if it's a tiny little hiccup, and I did this years ago, I was running clippers through and mine were dull and they dried out and I went through and it caught the hairs and stopped. And I had to try to slowly pull it out. So the beard had to come off. So I've already put the primary in, which is a medium hold. I use that to give myself a foundational handlebar shape, right? And then I'm going to go back through it and put the secondary on. What I'm trying to do today is that wide imperial. Normally I would go outside, take the dogs out 3-4 minutes. When it's like 30-40 degrees outside, you go outside and the wax will start to harden up, come back to that room temperature consistency. So this is my secondary. You don't need a whole bunch. A good mustache comb. I told myself I wasn't going to open the he shed. This is what I was using originally. Okay, this came in a clipper set that I had, right? Well, you got the smaller edges and then you got the longer edges. And as I was trying to do it, it's kind of complicated to get through there and do it. Sometimes these two, when you're using it in your mustache without the wax, can build up a static. Some of the teeth you can see are not even. They might be together, could cause some snagging. One of my first mustache combs ever, and I still have it, is my Kent comb, which Can You Handlebar does sell these. I think they have a larger comb. I also have, back in the he shed, I have, if I don't knock everything out, one of their beard combs. This is great because it's wood, right? And as you put it through, it's not generating a whole lot of static. It actually felt really good on the beard hairs. So anyways, that's enough about combs. Make sure you clean them out. If you're putting them through the wax, it'll get a bunch of wax built up. And I've done it where I forgot about it. And then I'll go through and I'll go to comb my mustache and I'm depositing like week old, wax in there. Ugh, it just looks nasty. So I'm going to go ahead and run the comb through. And not only does this spread the wax, but it helps to align the hairs, which to me is really important, because if you're only putting wax on the top and bottom layer of the mustache, it may not hold as well for a long period of time. I mean, if you're in a rush to go and you slap it in and you just pull those curls and you go, you got a dinner date or something going on, I could see that. But if you're really wanting to get the most out of your mustache wax, then definitely spread the wax with a good mustache comb. So I'm gonna use a hairdryer. It's gonna get a little loud. What I've been doing is I put it on hot and I'll run that for about 4 or 5 seconds. Then I jump it over to low heat. You don't want liquidy. So that's kind of what it looks like at room temperature. And here we go. Hot on the fingers, hot on the fingers. Yeah, I don't think that was more than 20 seconds. But as you might be able to see, it's a little shiny, kind of right through there. Not liquidy, but just a little bit shiny. Comes off really nice. I'm gonna put that in. And you can also change up the consistency of this even after you've heated it up with the hairdryer by how much you rub between your fingers. Hello, Green Guru Grooming and Alex. I got a glare coming off, so it's kind of hard for me to see who's popping in, but I am trying to look for some of the questions. You can already see, just that small bit of heat that I hit it up with that hairdryer changed it, and it's kind of going back to that hard consistency relatively quick, which is kind of nice. For me, there's like I don't know if you call it a golden hour or whether it's a sweet spot, right? In the timing, a little bit of tension, taking my hand, feeling for knots, aligning the hair. There's a sweet spot where I can really maximize the pliability and for the shaping that I'm doing. Ooh, gotta look out for fuzz. Picked up some fuzz off of the counter here. And yes, I have gotten glitter that my daughter has left onto my hands and into the mustache. So what I like to do is I rotate the hairs vertically and I pinch and flatten. And a lot of times I'll go through and I'll just keep doing that. I think it showcases my mustache a little better. I've been down the road where I did twisting. I also did some pinching and then did like cones, which I call barrels, and then started pushing those over. I like this style of the handlebar that I've been doing. Call this my Can You Handlebar signature mustache. So one I make most often with my secondary or primary and secondary. I did mess up one day and completely had like a little brain fart and only grabbed my secondary, or I started with my secondary. I got them mixed up. I heated up a little bit and I'm putting it in. I'm like, God, this primary today is really, really strong. You know? And once again, thank you guys all for watching, joining me live. If you have any questions, I will definitely try to answer them. Another thing that I haven't talked about, but should talk about now as I'm having wax, is keeping those hands clean. So, you know, I'm going to pinch through here, put some wax on here and go through. But if I still have wax here and I'm pinching and I get this looking really beautiful and I go to let go, it's going to grab those hairs and just pull them right apart. So having clean hands is almost a must. Hello there, Mike. Still bending it back a little. See how it's trying to lean forward? I don't want it to lean forward. And you know, if you're chasing a true symmetrical mustache, good luck, because I'm almost at 25 months of having a mustache, and I don't think I've ever had a true symmetrical mustache. You know, there's just variations between the hair growth between both sides, and as you're shaping, you know, you're gonna have a little bit of issues here and there. And so if you're heck bent on getting symmetrical, then you might have a frustrating shaping time. Ooh, gotta clean those fingers. Almost pulled it apart. I like to just see if I can make it look good. You know what I mean? If I get it somewhat symmetrical, that's great. But once again, with wax, that's one of the advantages is I can adjust it throughout the day because I bump it on things. You know, put a jacket on, you might bump it again. Sometimes I just take it apart and rerun it out, which is all right. These guys like to come apart. And I find too that between the two sides, I have a tendency to make the mustache different between the two sides just because I'm like right-handed. And leaning over to this side, I might make a really beautiful one, but on the other side, I'm using the opposite hand. Do you trim the hairs over the top of your lip under your nose? Right here? No, I don't trim them. The only hairs I've trimmed is kind of through here. I'm trying to keep it within the 3/4 of an inch to 5/8 of an inch for national competition standards, just in case they get real picky. So, got to give a shout out to, on Instagram, I think it's called SF Beards. They're running a competition for Saturday. Beard categories, mustache categories. They've got, I think right now what they're looking for is somebody to do, I'm trying to remember the name of the category, but if you have a beard, you're going to do a freestyle, like, you add things to your beard, right? You decorate your beard and you do all that stuff. I don't think they have enough people for it. I was chatting with those guys, I think 2 days ago, and they said that's what they're really looking for. And I'm sorry, I forget the name of the category. But yeah, you can add things into your beard and compete. Now they have a whiskerina. And if you haven't seen that, oh my goodness, there are some ladies out there that can put together. So they have like a whiskerina natural, right? And a whiskerina freestyle. Oh, I think it's creative beards. I think that's the category. So with the whiskerinas as well, they have, obviously it's the ladies putting a beard together, but they have a category where they want them to try to look natural. And then they have that creative where they're making it out of all kinds of things. And there was one I saw for another competition where the lady did a Yukon Cornelius. So if you're an old Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer fan, It was a beautiful, beautiful costume. I've seen him use all kinds of things in there. There's a kids creative where your kids can compete, make mustaches out of Play-Doh or styrofoam or Legos or, whatever it is. All the money that they're raising goes to a good cause. And that's January 23rd. So typically what they'll do is once you buy your digital ticket, a few days later, I think, or just a couple of days before Saturday, they will have a code word that'll come out. And I don't know if it's specific to each category, but that way they know that, you're using a current video or photos. They ask for a 30-second video for your submission. Basically, what I did last time was like, I'm Bob, I'm from so-and-so. I'm competing in this category. This is my mustache. And then, you come through, give them a look at it, blah, 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 blah. And that's all in your 30 seconds. And have 3 photos ready to upload. And then it's all on Facebook. And what'll happen is they'll put out a list, right? Since it's going to be on Saturday, let's say it starts at 12, they'll say, okay, between 12 and 1 is going to be natural mustache submissions. So between 12 and 1, you look and you follow their group, and all of a sudden it'll say a new event or new event has appeared. And it'll be, say, the natural mustache. And so you go in, you drop your video in, and I think your 3 photos, and you say, this is who I am, blah, blah, blah. And then it closes at, say, like 1 o'clock. And then the judges will look at it. And then the next category comes up, styled mustaches, for instance. And then between 1 and 2 is styled mustaches. And it'll go through the day. And at the very end of the day, they'll say, like, okay, at 9 p.m. Eastern or 8 p.m. Central, they're going to have all of the announcements made. And it was pretty fun last time. I did the North Texas Beard Alliance and won the styled handlebar category with that one. That was pretty fun. All right, I got sticky hands here. Let's start getting this here. I want it wide. Start bending it over. And typically what I'll do is just a little bit of pressure. I'm gonna get some wax on the hand. Right, a little bit of pressure on this side. Make sure it's clean. And then I go through. I just like a Bob Ross painting, right? Gonna make a happy little mustache. Happy little mustache. A little pinch, a little application of the secondary wax. I got me a loose little hair right there, you little booger. Look to this other side. Ooh, cardinal rule. Clean the hands. Hopefully everybody's Friday is going well. I know I said it earlier, but, I do ramble sometimes. All right. So now, and this is the hard part for me, is I'm going to have to switch how my hands are. Give me some wax on there. Clean it up, This is the hard part. So now I got to reach over. Pinching and bending, pinching and bending, pinching and bending. So for me, I try to equate it to like a Star Trek 3-dimensional chess, because I'm trying to flatten it, I'm trying to bend it, and I'm trying to keep it that way. So I'm trying to move it in like 3 or 4 directions and keep the shape. That's good enough for now. When you're going back, growing your beard back, that's a good question. I get asked that quite a lot too. So my original intention was, I took off my beard at 20 months. I wanted to do some mustache competitions. The community in which, I travel around, all this stuff, going in town, all that good stuff, I would see a lot of beards, but I didn't see a lot of mustaches. So I wanted to stick out and compete with my mustache. And then I wound up winning the Beard Team USA National Handlebar category. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's awesome. When is Worlds? You know, got to take it up a notch. And Worlds is in 2023. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do a beard and mustache regrow, because I know personally myself, some of my deficiencies are this side's not as thick as that side. So I'm missing a little bit of hair there that I did in a trim, I think at 13 months. Because I didn't see the big picture later that I would need it at 2 years. And so I was like, well, I could just grow everything back. And Worlds is April 2023 over in New Zealand. That'd be plenty of time, 2 years from now, for me to regrow everything and get back to the point I'm at now. But then I saw the post from the Beard Team USA that their nationals are going to be in Scranton, Pennsylvania, September 11th. So I'm like, well, if I shave everything off, that's only going to give me 8 months roughly, a little less than 8 months, to try to get enough growth, at least on the mustache, to compete again. And the beard would have to go, because if I compete in a mustache category, no other facial hair is supposed to be allowed. So that's kind of where I'm at. So I don't know. I'm kind of, undecided. If I go to nationals again and maybe I don't win, then I say, okay, well, now it's time to grow the beard back. I do miss it. I loved having the beard. Besides being a little bit of a booger. Ooh, a little bit of glitter in there from the sink. All right, come on now. Work with me, mustache. Work with me. Sometimes you got to do that. You get it to where it's looking pretty nice, but then you got to change it up a little bit. Just a little bit. Oh, I don't know if you can see that glitter. Transferred it all the way down. Which would be fine if I was trying to do like a glitter mustache, but that's not what I'm going for today. Thank you for bearing with me. This one's always a fun one to make. Any other questions? But yeah, at some point I will have the beard back. I do miss it. But I'm enjoying the mustache solo right now. Because I can go right now to, say, the mall, or I can go into town and I'll see, guys everywhere with beards, right? And I love, talking beard talk, and I love talking facial hair and all that stuff. But you don't see many people with lots of, you don't see lots of people with big mustaches. You see some guys with small ones, which is fine. But you don't see anybody rocking a big handlebar. All right. So, getting these last little hairs in there. And then throughout the day after this is done, I'll most likely go in and do a little bit of tweaking. Because I'm always tweaking. And if I bump it, you know what I mean? Definitely got to tweak it. Oh, whoa. Secondary on the floor. Hello, Jimmy Williams. He said, I am. So, for those of you out there waxing, or new to waxing, a lot of times through here won't keep a lot of wax, and that's because of the moisture in your breath. So if it starts to come apart a lot, don't fret. It happens to all of us. I think it's looking pretty good. Drag the comb over. A little bit of tension. And I'm dragging it at an angle. I'm not sinking it in and going across like that. Just enough to kind of realign some of those hairs. I always have these little hairs right here in the middle. I think when I was at month 9, I was late for work one day, and these little hairs were getting in my way. So I was like, they gotta go. They gotta go. So I took a pair of scissors and cut them, and it looked great for about a week. And then as they started to grow back, I was like, oh man, now they look even shorter than they were last time. So don't make rash trims. Oh, you're a little booger right there. Hands are too sticky. Just trying to fix it up. This little guy right here wants to do his own little thing. That happens sometimes. It happens. Stinker. Sorry, I got all quiet. I'm like concentrating here. Do you ever get days when it doesn't play ball at all? I have days where I have like a shape in mind, right? And just for whatever reason, maybe it's a brain fart on my part, or maybe my hands were dirty, something of that nature. The shape that I'm trying to make won't work out. Like right now, I got this little guy right here wants to be a little butthead. I'll just make this up real quick again. So, having a little bit of patience, practicing quite a lot so that when you run into those, you kind of know what to do, really, 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 really helps out. Like this guy, I know he's not going to go back in until I change it up a little bit. And so, as you were mentioning, so I'll have a shape in mind. Like, I want to make this shape today, and I want it to be nice and thick, all the way through. And the hair may not align correctly, or I may not have done something right. So what I'll do is I'll be like, well, I guess I'm going to run it out and do an English, or I'm going to run out and do this other one. But this is kind of what I like to call my wide imperial. I like to do this one a lot with the Can You Handlebar primary and secondary. I'm just going to tuck under here for a second. See, like this guy. And that guy just does not want to play ball today. So typically what I would do, and I'm not going to do it now just for time's sake, I'll run a comb right back through. Align all the hair, spread it all back out. But I wanted to show you basically how I did it, and using the primary and secondary. And for whatever reason, this guy's being a little booger. Might have been all the water I drank beforehand. And I may have gotten some water on the mustache. It may not have been completely dry. But it looks pretty good. And like I said, I tweak it throughout the day. I tweak it because I'll turn my head a certain way and I'll look at it and I'll be like, it's not doing what I want it to do. Go back through and do it over. But, that looks pretty good. A little bit of tweaking I'll do probably after I turn this off, but nobody wants to sit here for like 2 hours as I get super nitpicky, right? So once again, that is the primary that I use to do the basic shaping. And generally what I'll do is I'll let it set, no touching for like 10 minutes, let it get back to that room temperature consistency. Then I'll like run a comb through, just make sure the hairs are aligned. And then I will put in the secondary. Do you ever get days where it doesn't? Oh, I already read that. Why is that? It's not new. The secondary is a strong. The primary is a medium wax. I like that combination. It's my most used combination. So it's the one I'm most familiar with. It makes this mustache pretty daggone well. But as you can see, some days you have, hairs that don't want to cooperate and you got to go back through and adjust it. Well, thank you very much there, Can You Handlebar? So, thank you guys for watching live. Thank you, Can You Handlebar, for jumping in. I'll try to share the code they had a little bit earlier. We were talking about the discounts you could save. They are running a little low on stock. I mean, it's an awesome product that is in high demand. So definitely go over, check out their webpage. I recommend the Beard Mentor section. There's a lot of great articles in there, telling you when you should use beard oil, what beard oil does, when you should trim, how to comb your mustache, all of that good stuff. Yeah, definitely. Anytime, dude. So hopefully this was a good 45 minutes of your time where we just kind of chatted, gave you a chance to ask some questions. If you like, send me a message or, tag me in a post, something like that. I love seeing those. Those mean the world to me when you guys tag me or send me messages, mustache or beard related. Thank you so much. Yeah, as always, I try to put on a show. I don't want to be boring, but I'm looking in the mirror over here, and sometimes you get days where the little mustache wants to pop out. I'm going to run a comb through as soon as I get off here, and then I'll post a photo a little bit later. So, anyways, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for tagging me. It means a heck of a lot to me. I was just a guy that decided to stop shaving in December 2018, and here we are. So once again, I am Bob, and this is Elliot Norris, my mustache. You have a wonderfully bearded day.